Do it all with Steel Battery. Now is the best time to save big on over 40 hardworking Steel tools. Hurry into your local Steel dealer or shop online.
All right, in college football, we have the Deep South's oldest rivalry with number 10 Georgia taking on Auburn, meeting 129 times all time. Now, a ranked Georgia team has never lost at Auburn, 9-0-1 all time, and Georgia has won 8 straight meetings. So they're looking to make it 9 straight as they take on the Auburn Tigers this week in college football. So let's welcome in Chip Patterson and Shehan Jeyarajah. Guys, on paper, this is seemingly a little lopsided, but we know that Georgia's secondary has been susceptible at times this year. So how much are they going to have to tighten up that pass defense in this game, Shehan?
Yeah, this is a huge dynamic heading into this one. You look at the past couple of years under Kirby Smart, this has been unquestionably one of the best defensive programs of the 21st century. But you look through these first couple of weeks, and teams have been able to move the ball on them. You go back to that Tennessee game where they give up over 350 yards through the air. You also look even this past week against a bad Kentucky team where Cutter Boley finishes with over 200 yards passing. This is a Georgia defense that does not look exactly like what we've become accustomed to, and that is especially apparent in the pass rush. They've been a relative non-factor in this game, and I think that heading into a matchup against Auburn, they're going to have to find some ways to create some chaos in order to stop a really talented receiving core.
All right, let's get to the Auburn side of things, because it started out great, 3-0, then 0-2, coming off of back-to-back losses after that 3-0 start to Oklahoma and then Texas A&M. But a bright spot, though, Chip, Auburn's defense.
Yeah, I've really been enjoying the way that this Auburn defense can keep the team in the game. And as I look ahead to what might happen on Saturday night in Jordan-Hare Stadium under the lights, I got to think that it is going to be that defense that they've got to lean on. Like, yes, you've got some superstars like Keldrick Falk, but really you go back to the Texas A&M game, for example, the defense is what gave Auburn a chance to still be in that game late when I thought that the Aggies were really not allowing anything from Auburn offensively. And it's interesting, Shehan points out, the pass defense, and man, if Jackson Arnold can step up and take advantage of this group, that would be a bad sign for Georgia. So can we see this defense create some scores, create some short fields? Because Georgia's defense still, to me, is a very solid group, and I don't trust Jackson Arnold to be able to march all the way down the field with long, plodding drives. This has to be a situation where they are getting after Gunnar Stockton, where they are forcing turnovers, and they are creating short fields to make life a little easier, because with a game that's already projected to be low scoring, every little bit is going to count.
All right, want to get into players to watch for both of these teams. So, Shehan, on the Auburn side of things, who is somebody that you're going to be watching closely?
Well, Chip mentioned him. Keldrick Falk at defensive lineman, I think, has been just a game changer for Auburn. I got a chance to see him in week 1 against Baylor, and he's just one of those guys that you start to see opposing offenses just go away from. They just run to the other side of the field wherever he's lined up. And, he's somebody who I think has the frame and the potential to be picked in the first round of the 2026 NFL draft. He's been a monster, both getting after the quarterback and also in run defense. And when you look at this Georgia offense, they have been susceptible. This hasn't been as good of an offensive line as maybe you've seen in previous years. They haven't run the ball as consistently. And of course, Gunnar Stockton is still figuring things out a little bit at the quarterback position. So if Keldrick Falk is able to win this matchup with ease, it changes the calculus for how Auburn defends this team.
I'll take us to the offensive side of the ball, and Shehan and I are really ham and egging it because he points out Georgia's pass defense, and I'm telling you that wide receiver Cam Coleman has an opportunity to absolutely feast, because there aren't a lot of players of Coleman's caliber, and so that means that those 50-50 balls, the one-on-one opportunities that might be there against Georgia's corners, those are opportunities where I actually think Cam Coleman can win. Now, it's on Jackson Arnold to deliver a ball that Cam Coleman can have, but he's got the gifted individual playmaking to be able to change this game and flip it on its head.
So, Chip, I'll send it back to you for Georgia. You're watching C.J. Allen. Tell us why.
Yeah, the mobility of the quarterback for Auburn, just Jackson Arnold running the football, a lot more pressure on the linebackers. And C.J. Allen is about as good as they come. The way that he's able to close speed, the way he's able to read defenses and be in the right place at the right time, those are his skills, and also some of the most important skills to helping Georgia's defense have a dominant edge in this game.
Yeah, and I think that for Georgia, I mean, obviously we mentioned some of the greatness that Auburn has done in run defense, but their pass defense has been a little susceptible. So I'm looking hard at Zachariah Branch. You know, you look at this Georgia receiving core, they invested a lot in it over the offseason via the transfer portal, and Branch was the headliner of this group. He's been somebody who's gone down the field, created plays, created opportunities, but also I think through his first 3 years, frankly, in college football, has been more flash than substance. So I look for opportunities for him to get lined up in the slot, go against Auburn's linebackers and safeties, and have an opportunity to create explosive plays. Because if Auburn's going to, or if Georgia rather, is going to run away with this game, it's going to have to come through explosives.
All right, it is game prediction time. Georgia has won 8 straight meetings. They were 3.5-point favorites at Auburn. Shehan, what's your pick?
Yeah, I'm picking Georgia to win, Georgia to cover. I think that this is a team in a game that ultimately it just does not favor Auburn. We mentioned so many of these dynamics, and I think that there's actually a lot of parallels right now with the way that Auburn and Georgia are kind of built, but Georgia is a better version in almost every single way. You know, I think that they have more talent on that back end. I think they're going to stack up better against those wide receivers. They've got a quarterback who I have a little bit more trust in and who has been a bit more reliable this year. And for Jackson Arnold, I mean, again, if Georgia's able to get some pressure, he has crumbled in those moments to this point. So I think that ultimately Georgia's able to pull away. I think that it ends up being a bit of a lower scoring game. Give me something like 27-14.
I agree with you on lower scoring, Shehan, but it's my 4 favorite words. Wouldn't it be hilarious? That stadium gets a little spooky. Give me Auburn 21, Georgia 20, and something dumb ends up deciding a huge win for Hugh Freeze and the Tigers.
I'm kind of hoping the latter shakes out because that's just fun, right, for us watching here, our fans of college football. Chip, Shehan, we certainly appreciate it, previewing Georgia-Auburn. That is Saturday, 7:30 p.m. Eastern. In the meantime, you can hear Chip and the guys on the Cover 3 podcast. The Big Game Breakdown episode is in your feed right now.
Chip was 1 second away from a war eagle. It kind of
I know.
there with his pick. We're going back to the NFL when you come back to HQ Spotlight. The 49ers on top of the wild NFC West.